Restoring a vehicle. Done right, it can be one of the most rewarding things you can ever undertake. Done wrong, it can turn your life upside down. Shake the money out of your pockets and squeeze the sanity from your brain. Stacey David's Restoration Series is here to help you do it right. So you can keep your money and your sanity. And enjoy the fruits of your labor. So grab a wrench and let's get cranking. Stacey David's Restoration Series is brought to you by LMC Truck, Keep 'em on the road, and Cornwell Tools, the choice of professionals.
Hey, welcome to the Gears Restoration Series, where today we are talking about seats and what to do if they're old and nasty and ripped up or smelly or just don't have the right look anymore. And of all those things I just named, I guarantee at least one of them probably applies to one of the seats in your project, maybe both of them. So that brings up some questions. What do you do with old seats? Do you keep them? Do you restore them? Where do you get the parts? How do you do that? Do you replace them? Where do you buy replacements at? I mean, it brings up a lot of questions. And the only way to answer those questions is, first of all, you got to have a solid plan of what you want to do with the vehicle and how you want it to look. Then you have to know what level of project you're going to build based on the 5 levels that we've shown you before, with number 1 being the simplest, number 5 being the most difficult. For example, on a level 1 or a level 2 project, where a person just wants to drive and enjoy something in original condition, this kind of interior is perfect. But if you're going to do a level 3, 4, or 5 project, where you're doing a resto mod, or a high-end original restoration, or a custom interior, well, you're not going to be happy with these big wrinkles and these bad-fitting seams and these kind of wrinkly back panels, that kind of thing. Heck, you might not even want to keep these original style seats or that original style upholstery. Fortunately, you got some options out there. We're going to walk you through each one. Okay, the first step to any seat or upholstery restoration or upgrade is to remove the old seats from the vehicle. And that's just a matter of unbolting them and pulling them out. Once your seats are out of the way, you need to take a look at the shape of your floors and your carpet, because now is the time to restore or replace that if they're bad. And we did a whole show on carpet and floor restoration if you need some tips and tricks on how to do it. The next step is to look the seats over carefully. If the frames are broken or rusty, you're going to need to repair them or replace them. Also, make sure to check any latches or hardware or trim pieces, because those are usually broken or damaged, and sometimes they're very hard to find replacements for. Now, if everything is solid and in good shape, you've got a good candidate for restoration. If it's rotten, you need to find another seat. For a bench seat, you'll want to start by disassembling the seat bottom from the seat back and then snipping the hog rings off of the perimeter of the frame underneath. The foam pad is really the heart of a seat restoration, because these break down over time and no longer have the shape or the padding that they once had. Well, that's nasty. So replacing them is important. And if you're working on a truck like this, LMC not only has replacement seat foam, but also replacement seat upholstery for the factory bench seat. Installation is a simple matter of positioning the foam on the frame and then sliding the upholstery in place over the foam. Turning the upholstery inside out and covering the foam with a plastic garbage bag will help the upholstery slide down over the foam easily. Next, clamp the upholstery to the frame with hog rings and special hog ring pliers. Finally, reassemble the seat. Okay, that covers an original restoration on a factory bench seat. And hopefully you're looking at this going, man, that wasn't that hard. And it's not. Basic tools and some hog ring pliers and you'll be on your way. Now, what if you want to restore bucket seats? Now this is where a lot of guys go, oh, wait a minute, I've heard those are tough, I can't do those. Yes, you can. And to prove that, we took a couple that had never done any upholstery work at all and walked them through the replacement of their stock vinyl upholstery for custom leather. And if they can do it, you can do it too. Now, bucket seats do require a bit more work, but the process is similar. The removal of the seats, the disassembly, and the removal of the old upholstery is pretty straightforward. When it comes to fitting on the new upholstery, this is where a bucket seat is a bit different than a bench seat, because buckets have pronounced side bolsters and center cushions, and the only way to get these contours in the seat is to attach hog rings down in these areas. If the seat has a headrest, that'll need to be done as well. And then everything reassembled as before. All right, that's great for a level 1, 2, or 3 project. But what if you're doing something custom and you want custom seats to go with the custom interior? Well, fortunately, there's a whole world of aftermarket seats out there for you to choose from. There's even companies like LMC that offer bolt-in factory replacement seats that are custom. And what this means is that you don't have to do any upholstery work, you don't have to do any fabrication work, you just take out your original seat and bolt these in place, which is great if this is the seat you want. If this is not the custom seat you want, then you have some work to do. The first step is to choose the style of seat that you want to use. The next step is to position the seat in the vehicle and center it up with the steering column, the pedals, and the windshield to make sure everything is accessible to you and you're seeing out the windows well. Then you'll need to fabricate a bracket to not only mount the seats to the floor, but also support the weight of the seats, the passengers, and any console that you might be using. All of this while maintaining the proper seat height and location, and not covering any important hardware or access panels on the floor. Now, since this kind of custom seating involves fabrication tools and skills and a fair amount of engineering and design as well, this gets into a level 5 project, so make sure that you're prepared for it. One last thing that's worth mentioning when you're doing seat work, seat belts. Most people don't think about them and they just figure they'll clean up the originals and put them back in the vehicle. There is no reason to do that. Not when you can get brand new replacement seat belts in the color you want. There's no cleanup, there's no rust removal, you just bolt them in. So, no reason to reuse this. Just hang it on the wall, get rid of it, but don't put it back in the vehicle. Now, obviously, these are replacement stock seat belts. If you're going to be doing some road course running, doing any kind of racing, you're probably going to have to step up to a 5-point harness like this one from Corbo. As you can see, it's got 2 shoulder belts, 2 lap belts, and this is your anti-submarine belt. This thing goes up between your legs and keeps you from sliding out from under the harness. Yeah, not a pleasant surprise, but it can save your life. Now, when it comes to hardware, you got to be using grade 8 hardware, and it takes these special shouldered bolts. As you can see, this allows the belt to pivot around the bolt even though the bolt is tight. Of course, the final step is to bolt the new or newly reupholstered seats in place and see what you got. I promise you, it's going to be one of the most satisfying parts of a project. Almost as satisfying as the first time you plop into those seats and look out through the windshield.